Hey, man, you playing to win tonight, man. You sharp as a mosquito. What's going down? That's that crypto, see? They let a real crip up in the crypto ball. Bang, bang.
Chill. I'm not performing. I am in Washington, D.C. right now, but I'm not performing. It's a private vibe I'm doing with my brother Snoop Dogg.
DL Hughley just blew up the internet after dragging Snoop Dogg for doing the exact thing he once mocked others for. The comedian isn't pulling any punches. He's calling Snoop out as a hypocrite, and the internet can't get enough. It all started when DL reposted a 2017 clip of Snoop roasting black artists for performing at Donald Trump's inauguration, spitting venom with that unforgettable line, "Which one of you Uncle Tom ninjas gonna do it?" That moment was raw, bold, and savage. But here's the twist. Fast forward to 2025, and who's center stage at a Trump event? None other than Snoop Dogg himself, standing side by side with Nelly and Rick Ross. The same man who once mocked others for being too cozy with Trump is now smiling for the same crowd. The internet lost it. Comment sections turned into battlegrounds. Fans called him a sellout, a busta, and some even joked that Snoop puffed up his chest and said, "Yes, sir, I'll dance for you, sir." The betrayal hit hard, especially from someone who built his legacy on rebellion and West Coast pride. People are asking how Snoop, the legend who once repped for Pac and stood against the system, could flip like this. What's he even doing performing for a base that barely listens to rap? And the timing couldn't be worse. Snoop's already drowning in controversy, with rumors swirling about his alleged ties to Diddy, claims that he's playing both sides, and whispers that he's been cozying up to the feds. Then Suge Knight had to pour gasoline on the fire. Suge's been hinting for years that Snoop was never as loyal to Tupac as he pretended to be. He's even gone on record saying Snoop lied about visiting Pac in the hospital after the shooting. Remember that story where Snoop said he got kicked out trying to see Pac? According to Suge, that's straight cap. He claims Snoop never even showed up. And when a man like Suge talks, people listen. Now mix that with this new Trump performance, and Snoop's whole image as hip-hop's cool uncle is cracking right in front of us. The internet's dragging him through the mud, and DL Hughley's making sure nobody forgets. When Snoop, Nelly, and Rick Ross popped up at that Trump event, it wasn't just a performance, it was a full-blown PR disaster. The backlash is wild, and one thing's for sure. Snoop's smooth-talking charm might not save him this time. Fans were furious. They called it a betrayal of everything hip-hop ever stood for. "Ain't nobody supposed to be out here doing this kind of Uncle Tom stuff," one fan blasted online. People started reposting old clips of Snoop asking, "Which one of you gonna do it first?" And now, the answer was right in front of them. But Nelly wasn't backing down, not even a little bit. He jumped online and defended himself in a chat with rapper Willie D, saying, "I'm not doing this for the money. It's an honor. I respect the office, period." He even said he'd perform for Biden or Kamala Harris if they asked, trying to make it sound like business, not politics. But DL Hughley wasn't buying a word of it. He hopped on Instagram and came straight for their necks, writing, "Trump propping up white supremacy isn't just his past Nellies, it's who he still is today." The man was heated. DL doubled down by reposting Snoop's old 2017 video roasting artists who performed for Trump, letting the contradiction speak loud and clear. The message hit hard. He was calling out hypocrisy, and thousands of fans were nodding along. People started flooding DL's comments, saying he was spitting facts and calling the whole situation embarrassing for the culture. And this ain't new behavior for DL. He's been keeping it real about this topic for years. Back in 2017, when Steve Harvey met with Trump and Ben Carson, DL went off online saying, "It amazes me that to convince black people Trump cares, he takes pictures with celebrities." Then he hit them with that now iconic line, "If Trump cared about black people, he wouldn't have pushed those racist birther claims against Obama, and he wouldn't use rappers and athletes as props." His point couldn't be clearer. Trump doesn't see black artists as equals, just entertainment. DL summed it up perfectly when he said, "They'd rather see us run the ball than run the country." That quote still hits today. So when he saw Snoop, Nelly, and Rick Ross performing at a Trump event in 2025, there was no way he was staying silent. In DL's eyes, this wasn't just business. It was selling out, plain and simple. Then DL dropped his coldest take yet. Trump didn't invite Snoop out of respect, and he did it for power. It was about flexing control, showing he could make someone who used to mock him now stand beside him. That's domination, DL said, and honestly, it's hard to argue. Trump didn't call back Waka Flocka, Kodak Black, or Lil Pump. They already served their purpose. But Snoop, He's a global icon. He's got real influence, crossover fame, and credibility beyond hip-hop. That's why, according to DL, Trump's team handpicked him. Not for the music, but for the message. And guess what? It worked. The internet went wild. Memes, edits, and jokes took over every timeline, turning Snoop's performance into a viral circus. Fans were furious. They called it a betrayal of everything hip-hop ever stood for. Ain't nobody supposed to be out here doing this kind of Uncle Tom stuff, one fan blasted online. People started reposting old clips of Snoop asking, which one of you gonna do it first? And now, the answer was right in front of them. But Nelly wasn't backing down, not even a little bit. He jumped online and defended himself in a chat with rapper Willie D, saying, "I'm not doing this for the money. It's an honor. I respect the office. Period." He even said he'd perform for Biden or Kamala Harris if they asked, trying to make it sound like business, not politics. But DL Hughley wasn't buying a word of it. He hopped on Instagram and came straight for their necks, writing, "Trump propping up white supremacy isn't just his past, Nelly. It's who he still is today." The man was heated. DL doubled down by reposting Snoop's old 2017 video roasting artists who performed for Trump, letting the contradiction speak loud and clear. The message hit hard. He was calling out hypocrisy, and thousands of fans were nodding along. People started flooding DL's comments, saying he was spitting facts and calling the whole situation embarrassing for the culture. And this ain't new behavior for DL. He's been keeping it real about this topic for years. Back in 2017, when Steve Harvey met with Trump and Ben Carson, DL went off online saying, "It amazes me that to convince black people Trump cares, he takes pictures with celebrities." Then he hit them with that now iconic line, "If Trump cared about black people, he wouldn't have pushed those racist birther claims against Obama, and he wouldn't use rappers and athletes as props." His point couldn't be clearer. Trump doesn't see black artists as equals, just entertainment. DL summed it up perfectly when he said, "They'd rather see us run the ball than run the country." That quote still hits today. So when he saw Snoop, Nelly, and Rick Ross performing at a Trump event in 2025, there was no way he was staying silent. In DL's eyes, this wasn't just business. It was selling out, plain and simple. Then DL dropped his coldest take yet. Trump didn't invite Snoop out of respect, he did it for power. It was about flexing control, showing he could make someone who used to mock him now stand beside him. That's domination, DL said. And honestly, it's hard to argue. Trump didn't call back Waka Flocka, Kodak Black, or Lil Pump. They already served their purpose. But Snoop, he's a global icon. He's got real influence, crossover fame, and credibility beyond hip-hop. That's why, according to DL, Trump's team handpicked him, not for the music, but for the message. And guess what? It worked. The internet went wild. Memes, edits, and jokes took over every timeline, turning Snoop's performance into a viral circus. One fan straight up quoted DMX saying, "They sold their souls to the devil, and the price was cheap." That comment went viral fast. Another fan jumped in with, "After Snoop's Olympic moment, he thought he was untouchable. Guess not." The internet was relentless, and it didn't stop there. Some people took it even further, accusing Snoop of being an informant, pointing out how he's suddenly everywhere. From big brand commercials to the Olympics to every random product endorsement you can think of, people started saying he's become more corporate than Crip. One viral post cut deep saying, "When you get enough money, you'll excuse anything you do wrong. But money can't erase history." Ouch. That one hit Snoop's image right where it hurts. It's clear fans are tired of the celebrity double standards. They don't care how legendary your career is, they're calling everything out in 2025. Now everyone's asking the million-dollar question. Did Snoop, Nelly, and Ross just fumble their legacies for a fat paycheck? Or was it really just business? The culture is split in half, some calling it a full-on betrayal, others brushing it off as politics. But no matter how you spin it, one thing's undeniable. Snoop's reputation just took a massive hit. From Suge Knight's accusations to DL Hughley's takedown, it's like we're watching a slow-motion unraveling of a hip-hop legend. And if those whispers about Snoop playing both sides keep spreading, this might only be the beginning. The heat around him isn't cooling off, why it's boiling over. Every post, every appearance, every move he makes gets dissected like folks are waiting for him to mess up again. What started as a simple performance controversy has now turned into a full-blown cultural storm.
Ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you jigaboo is gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the one of you Uncle Tom is for doing it. Which one of you gonna do it first?
But I am honored to be performing for the office, for the president of the United States. Regardless, ain't nan other president asked me to perform. Nan.
DL Hughley's post didn't just spark backlash, it cracked open a vault of old suspicions that people had kept quiet about for years. Suddenly, everything from Snoop's past interviews to his friendships and business deals is under the microscope. People are asking the real question now: who's Snoop really standing with? The streets, the culture, or just whoever's cutting the biggest check? And honestly, that question stings because Snoop's rise has always been complicated. Back in the death row days, he was the voice of the West Coast, the smooth-talking Crip with a gangsta flow who represented the streets. But Suge Knight's latest comments hit a nerve. Suge said Snoop's been playing both sides since day one, that while Pac was out there riding for the cause, Snoop was staying safe, keeping his ties on both ends, and keeping quiet when things got real. Then Suge went even deeper, claiming Snoop's hiding major secrets about what really went down between Tupac and Death Row before that infamous Vegas night. Snoop ain't who y'all think he is, Suge allegedly said from behind bars, adding that Snoop's been the industry's biggest rat since the 90s. Heavy words from a man who lived through it all. And when you mix that with Snoop's modern-day Hollywood glow-up, the cooking shows with Martha Stewart, the Olympic cameos, the kids' TV appearances, and the endless commercials, it's wild. It's like he's reinvented himself into America's favorite uncle, the smiling face everyone loves. But for a lot of people, that image doesn't sit right. They remember where he came from, the raw, dangerous, unfiltered streets of Long Beach. Now, folks online are digging deep, asking, yo, how'd Snoop go from Crip rapper to corporate mascot? The tone of the conversation has changed. Fans aren't just clowning him anymore. They're questioning everything about his legacy. The man who once stood for rebellion is now being accused of becoming everything he used to rebel against, and the internet isn't letting him forget it for a second. People online started connecting dots, saying maybe that's why Snoop's been untouchable for so long, because he's protected by more than just fame. Once that theory dropped, the internet went crazy. The idea that Snoop might be an industry informant spread like wildfire across social media. Fans started pulling up receipts, digging into moments when Snoop somehow avoided the chaos while everyone else around him got burned. Think about it. During Death Row's wildest years, everybody got hit. Pac was gone. Suge got locked up. Dre walked away clean. Yet Snoop? He slid right out of that storm untouched and kept stacking wins. Some say it was just smart business moves, but others swear it was something deeper. One viral comment said, "Notice how Snoop never really gets touched, never canceled, never dragged for long. That ain't luck." And the comment section exploded. Whether those theories are true or not, perception is everything. And right now, people are seeing Snoop in a whole new light. DL Hughley's criticism just poured gasoline on that fire. His words weren't just about Trump, they cut deeper, hitting the question of accountability. For DL, this wasn't about who Snoop performed for, it was about what message he sent by doing it. Especially after building a career claiming he'd never crossed that line. DL flat out said Snoop's performance wasn't just bad optics, it was a betrayal to the culture. He called out the contradiction between Snoop's gangsta image and his new political softness, and it hit a nerve. Fans who grew up on Snoop's rebel energy felt blindsided, especially now when people expect authenticity more than ever. The streets don't forget, and this time, they're speaking up loud. Social media's been buzzing nonstop. Some fans are saying Snoop's just doing what he has to do to stay relevant in an industry that moves fast. But others believe it's way bigger than music. They think it's about power, control, and strategic moves behind the scenes. Even Nelly couldn't talk his way out of it when he said, "I respect the office." The internet instantly clowned him, calling it code for "I got paid." Rick Ross tried to play it safe by staying quiet, but that silence didn't protect him either. One fan tweeted, "Ross went from hustling to hustling for Trump." That single line blew up, pulling in thousands of retweets. The streets were not having it. And the backlash didn't stop with fans. Even older heads from the 90s era started chiming in, saying this moment shows how much hip-hop's changed. Back then, rappers stood for something. They risked deals, money, and fame just to speak truth to power. But now, Some fans say the new generation's too comfortable watching legends flip the script for a check. One YouTube commenter wrote, "We watched Snoop go from F the police to let me get that corporate check. That's not evolution, that's erosion." Harsh words, but the comment section agreed by the thousands. Still, not everyone's ready to cancel Snoop just yet. Some people argued it's unfair to expect artists to stay militant forever, that maybe Snoop's just adapting to survive in a different world. One post said, "The world changed, why shouldn't he?" It's a fair point, but DL Hughley's message still echoes loud. You can't clown others for selling out and then do the same thing years later. That's not growth, that's hypocrisy, and the internet's making sure Snoop feels every bit of that heat. That was the line that broke through. And with Snoop's name already tangled up in Diddy's ongoing scandals, fans couldn't help but start connecting dots. The Diddy investigation had everybody paranoid, wondering who's really tied to who, and Snoop's sudden coziness with political figures just poured more gas on that fire. Some people are convinced he's trying to stay close to power to protect himself, while others say it's nothing more than business strategy. But one thing's undeniable. Every new headline adds another layer to Snoop's mystery, and it's getting harder to tell what's real. Then came the next wave. The Snoop plays for both teams. Conspiracy started picking up steam. And this time, it wasn't just random internet trolls. Real industry insiders began speaking out. A former producer even said during an interview, "You never really know who's who in this game. Some of the ones y'all think are the realest been playing chess, while the rest playing checkers." Fans instantly took that as a subliminal aimed right at Snoop. Now, every time something shady happens in the industry, Snoop's name gets thrown in the mix like clockwork. It's gotten to the point where folks don't even know what to believe anymore. But what makes it worse? Snoop's silence. He hasn't done any major interviews, just dropped a few cryptic jokes on social media. Nothing serious, nothing direct. Some say he's laughing it off, others think he's too powerful to care. But silence can be dangerous, especially when your loyalty is being questioned by the same streets that once crowned you a king. The longer Snoop stays quiet, the louder the noise grows. The same man who once called himself the voice of the streets is now facing those same streets turning their backs on him. And in today's digital age, public opinion hits harder than any diss track ever could. It's wild, because this isn't even about just one event anymore. It's about legacy. When your whole image is built on authenticity, one wrong move can flip your story upside down in seconds. Right now, Snoop Dogg's facing the biggest image crisis of his entire career. And the irony, he's the one who taught everyone else how to move smart in this game, how to stay clean, stay relevant, and keep winning no matter what. But at this point, it's starting to look like he's the one getting played. The drama surrounding Snoop has gone way beyond simple gossip. It's turned into a full-on culture debate about trust, loyalty, and image in hip-hop. Every single day, new clips, interviews, and memes drop online, dragging Snoop right back into the spotlight. And while some fans still defend him, saying he's just handling business and thinking long-term, others feel straight up betrayed, like their favorite uncle just switched sides live on TV. The heartbreak is real. The truth is, Snoop built a brand that once felt untouchable, but lately, that armor's starting to crack. And when your career's as long, public, and documented as his, every little inconsistency comes back to bite. The internet doesn't forget, and right now, it's picking apart every phase of his evolution, from death row to corporate deals. DL Hughley didn't just call Snoop out for being hypocritical. He struck a nerve that's been pulsing through the hip-hop community for decades. That thin, dangerous line between keeping it real and selling out. When DL said Snoop performing for Trump wasn't just about music, but a power flex. Basically, Trump showing he could make a man who once mocked him now perform for him, that statement hit like a bomb. It exposed a truth a lot of fans didn't want to face. Maybe Snoop Dogg isn't as untouchable as we all thought. People were saying this whole situation made Snoop look like a pawn in somebody else's political game. One viral tweet hit the nail on the head. "Trump don't need your bars, Snoop. He needed your face. That's the flex." That post alone set the tone for what DL Hughley had been warning about all along. Powerful people using famous faces to push messages that go way beyond entertainment. But here's where things took a wild turn. DL's call-out didn't just spark conversation, it opened the floodgates. Suddenly, everyone started digging back through years of rumors about Snoop's alleged connections, alliances, and his hidden role behind the scenes. From whispers in the Diddy investigation to Suge Knight's jailhouse interviews, fans started piecing it together like a puzzle, asking, wait, has this been right in front of us the whole time? Then came the deeper cuts. Fans started revisiting that old claim that Snoop knew more about Tupac's death than he ever let on. Remember that story about him getting kicked out of the hospital after Pac was shot? Suge Knight shut that down years ago, saying he never came to the hospital. That story's fake. And whether you believe Suge or not, the fact is, when Suge speaks, the hip-hop world listens, even from behind bars. What's wild is how fast the public switched up. Just months ago, Snoop was everywhere, smiling on TV, cracking jokes, lighting up the Olympics, dropping commercials, popping up in movies, living like the most beloved rapper on earth. Now, people are side-eyeing everything. Even harmless ads are getting dragged under viral clips, with fans saying they really turned Snoop into a mascot. Another comment that blew up said, "Snoop's on every product but loyalty." That line went crazy viral, and you could tell this scandal hit him where it hurts. Not in the wallet, but in the reputation. Because money can buy endorsements, but it can't buy street respect. And once you lose that, it's almost impossible to get it back. Still, not everybody's ready to throw him under the bus. Some fans think people are being too harsh, saying Snoop's been holding it down for the West Coast for decades, building bridges while others burned them down. One fan wrote, "Y'all mad he getting a bag from Trump, but y'all weren't mad when he was cashing Hollywood checks." And that right there is the other side of the argument, the business logic. Snoop's one of the few rappers from the 90s still dominating mainstream entertainment today. That kind of longevity comes with decisions most street rappers never have to face. Maybe he's not switching sides. Maybe he's just surviving in a system where you either play the game or get played. But even if that's true, the harsh truth remains: perception beats logic every time. In today's social media era, one misstep and the culture will cancel you overnight. And with DL Hughley dragging that old 2017 clip back into circulation, fans had all the receipts they needed to roast Snoop from every angle. The irony couldn't be sharper. The same man who once said, "Which one of you Uncle Tom ninjas gonna perform for Trump?" ended up being the headline act years later. The internet had a field day with that. One viral TikTok summed it up perfectly. That's not karma, that's full circle humiliation. The backlash spread like wildfire across every platform, and even celebrities started reacting quietly, unfollowing Snoop, liking shady tweets, or just staying real silent. The vibe in hip-hop shifted almost overnight, and the question on everyone's mind became, is this the moment Snoop Dogg's untouchable image finally crumbles for good? Some celebrities quietly distanced themselves, while others stepped up to defend him. But even the ones who still respect Snoop are saying this one was a bad look. A longtime industry insider put it bluntly: there are just certain lines you don't cross. When you represent the culture, performing for Trump after clowning others for it, that's one of them. That statement hit hard across the industry. Still, not everyone's ready to throw Snoop away completely. There's a growing sense that people don't actually want to cancel him. They just want accountability. Fans are saying all it would take is one honest moment, one simple acknowledgement of the double standard, and maybe the storm would finally calm down. But Snoop? He's staying quiet, maybe hoping the noise fades away. The problem is, in the internet era, silence doesn't equal peace. It just gives people more space to talk. And let's be real, hip-hop's in a new era right now. The younger generation is watching everything the OGs do, and moments like this are shaping how they see success, loyalty, and authenticity. Because if Snoop Dogg, the man who came up from Long Beach, repped Death Row, and turned Gin and Juice into a global anthem, can get called out for switching up, then nobody is untouchable anymore. It's a wake-up call for the whole culture. Your words never disappear, your past never stays buried, and the internet never forgets. That's why DL Hughley's clip hit so hard. It wasn't just gossip or shade, it was a reminder that even legends can fall off their pedestal when they forget what they once stood for. Now, everyone's waiting for the next move. Will Snoop finally address the criticism, or keep letting the noise grow louder around him? Because if he stays quiet, the speculation's only going to spiral. The same fans who once saw him as Uncle Snoop are starting to question if that image was ever real in the first place. One viral comment summed it up perfectly. We loved Snoop for being one of us, not one of them. But now he's standing next to them, and we don't know what that means anymore. That kind of disappointment can't just be brushed off with a funny meme or an Instagram post. Right now, the smoke around Snoop ain't from his blunt, it's from the backlash. No matter how this plays out, one thing's for sure. This whole saga has officially changed how people see Snoop Dogg. His legend might still stand, but his loyalty, that's what's under the microscope like never before. DL Hughley didn't just drag him, he cracked open a whole new conversation about what it really means to stand on your word when fame, politics, and pride collide. So now the question is, did Snoop, Nelly, and Rick Ross go too far by performing for Trump? Or is it all just business at the end of the day? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We want to hear it all. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into hip-hop's wildest moments. Because trust me, this story's far from over, and the next one? Oh, it might be even crazier.